May 2nd, 2011, midnight. A team of Navy SEALs breach a compound in Pakistan. 40 minutes later, the world's most wanted terrorist is dead. Osama bin Laden, eliminated. 10 years of searching, one night to execute. But he wasn't the first, and he definitely wasn't the last. January 3rd, 2020, Baghdad International Airport. A convoy of vehicles. Qasem Soleimani, Iran's most powerful military commander, is inside. A U.S. drone is overhead. At 12:47 a.m., a Hellfire missile ends his life. Iran promises revenge. The world holds its breath. But this is what America does. Gaddafi, pulled from a drainage pipe, killed by rebels backed by U.S. airstrikes. Saddam, found hiding in a hole, executed. Baghdadi, cornered in a tunnel, detonated himself. Zawahiri, vaporized on his balcony in Kabul. This isn't conspiracy. This is documented history. 18 major eliminations. 80 years of operations. Terrorists, dictators, military commanders, all targeted by the United States. Some killed in midnight raids. Some captured and tried. Some overthrown in covert coups you've never heard about. Today, we're revealing the complete list. Every method, every target, every consequence. Because understanding how the U.S. eliminates its enemies isn't just history, it's a preview of what comes next. Welcome to Battlefield Insights. Everything in this analysis is verified. Declassified documents, military records, congressional testimonies. We're not speculating, we're documenting. 18 confirmed U.S. eliminations. 5 categories, 80 years of history. We'll start with the terrorists, bin Laden to Baghdadi. Then the dictators, Saddam to Gaddafi. The military commanders. The secret CIA coups most people don't know about. And critically, who survived despite America's best efforts. 10 retention hooks, 0 filler. Let's begin.
Terrorist category. Target 1. Osama bin Laden. After 9/11, President Bush made a promise: we will find him. 10 years later, the CIA finally did. A compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, surrounded by 12-foot walls. Bin Laden was inside. The mission: SEAL Team 6. 23 operators. Stealth helicopters flown by the legendary 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. The Night Stalkers. They flew low, hugging the terrain to avoid Pakistani radar. 40 minutes. That's all they had before Pakistan's military would respond. The SEALs fast roped into the compound, methodically cleared each floor. Then, bin Laden's bedroom. 3rd floor. The lead operator's decision time. Milliseconds. 1 shot. Bin Laden dead. Mission accomplished. But here's what almost went wrong. One helicopter clipped the compound wall during insertion and crashed. The SEALs had to destroy it to prevent Pakistan from capturing classified stealth technology. If the backup helicopter hadn't arrived, the team would have been stranded in Pakistan with bin Laden's body and a downed aircraft. The mission was seconds away from catastrophic failure. Target 2. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, ISIS leader. October 26, 2019, northern Syria. This time, Delta Force, not SEALs. Delta, the Army's Tier 1 unit. They cornered Baghdadi in a tunnel beneath his compound. He was surrounded, trapped, with 3 of his children. Instead of surrendering, he detonated a suicide vest. Killed himself and the kids. The tunnel partially collapsed. Target 3. Ayman al-Zawahiri, Al-Qaeda's leader after bin Laden. For a decade, he evaded capture. Then in 2022, the CIA found him in Kabul, Afghanistan, living in a safe house. Taliban had promised no terrorists in Afghanistan. They lied. But Zawahiri made one fatal mistake. He stood on his balcony every morning. The CIA watched, planned, and on July 31st, 2022, a Hellfire missile came through his window while he was standing outside. Surgical precision, 0 collateral damage. Target 4. Anwar al-Awlaki, the most controversial. Why? He was an American citizen, born in New Mexico. Al-Qaeda propagandist operating from Yemen. Obama administration decided constitutional rights don't apply to traitors waging war on America. September 30th, 2011. Drone strike. Al-Awlaki killed. First U.S. citizen deliberately targeted overseas. The legal debate continues. Can the president order the killing of an American without trial? Obama said yes, if they're an imminent threat and capture is impossible. But here's the thing about terrorists. They're easy moral targets. The world doesn't mourn them. The real controversy starts when America goes after leaders of sovereign nations. Leaders who, technically, aren't terrorists. That's where it gets complicated.
Dictator category. Target 1. Saddam Hussein. Iraq's brutal dictator for 24 years. Used chemical weapons on his own people. Invasion of Kuwait. Defied UN inspectors. March 2003. President Bush decides. Saddam must go. Operation Iraqi Freedom. Shock and awe. The most intense bombing campaign since World War II. Baghdad's skyline erupts in fire. 3 weeks later, Baghdad falls. Saddam flees. For 8 months, he evades capture. Then December 13, 2003, U.S. forces get a tip. A farmhouse near Tikrit, Saddam's hometown. They search, find nothing. Then, a soldier notices a rug covering something. Underneath, a small hole. They pull back the cover, and there he is. Saddam Hussein, the butcher of Baghdad, hiding in a hole 6 feet deep with $750,000 in cash and a pistol he never fired. Disheveled, bearded, defeated. He's tried by an Iraqi court, defiant until the end. December 30th, 2006, executed by hanging. Saddam is dead. Mission accomplished, right? Wrong. His removal creates a power vacuum. Sunni-Shia civil war. Al-Qaeda in Iraq emerges. That group eventually becomes ISIS. The consequences of removing Saddam are still unfolding today. Target 2. Muammar Gaddafi. Libya's dictator for 42 years. 2011, Arab Spring protests. Gaddafi responds with violence. NATO intervenes. Not a full invasion, just airstrikes. French jets destroy Gaddafi's convoy as he tries to flee Sirte. Rebels pull him from a drainage pipe. What happens next isn't shown on TV. He's killed. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton hears the news. Her reaction, caught on camera: "We came, we saw, he died," laughing. That moment becomes controversial. Was this victory or recklessness? Because Libya without Gaddafi? Chaos. Civil war. Migrant crisis. ISIS establishes a foothold in North Africa. The pattern repeats. Remove the dictator. Destabilize the country. But at the time, it looked like success. Target 3. Manuel Noriega. Panama's dictator. CIA asset turned enemy. Drug trafficker. December 1989. President Bush orders invasion. Operation Just Cause. 27,000 U.S. troops invade Panama. Noriega flees, takes refuge in the Vatican's diplomatic mission. The U.S. can't enter. Diplomatic immunity. So what do? Psychological warfare. They park loudspeakers outside and blast rock music 24/7. Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses on repeat. For 10 days straight. The Vatican complains. Noriega can't sleep. Finally, he surrenders. Brought to the United States. First foreign leader ever tried in a U.S. court. Convicted of drug trafficking. 20 years in prison. The dictator eliminated. Not by bullet, but by rock music.
Military commander category. Target: Qasem Soleimani. Not a terrorist, not a dictator, a general. Head of Iran's Quds force, their most elite military unit. The second most powerful person in Iran, after the supreme leader. Responsible for hundreds of American deaths in Iraq. For years, U.S. presidents considered killing him, but decided it was too risky, too provocative. Then Trump became president. January 2nd, 2020, Baghdad International Airport. 11:47 p.m. U.S. Reaper drone circles overhead.
Two vehicles pull up. Soleimani is inside. The CIA has been tracking him for days. President Trump gives the order. A Hellfire missile launches. 10 seconds to impact. 9, 8. The vehicles are moving. 7, 6. Infrared tracking locked. 5, 4, 3. The passengers have no idea. 2, 1. Impact. Massive explosion. Qasem Soleimani, dead. Also killed, Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, leader of an Iraqi militia. Trump tweets, he should have been taken out years ago. But Iran's reaction. Supreme Leader Khamenei cries on national television. Calls for revenge. 1 million people attend Soleimani's funeral in Tehran. Iran vows retaliation. 5 days later, January 7th, 2020. Iran fires a dozen ballistic missiles at U.S. military bases in Iraq. This is it. This is how World War III starts. Except, miraculously, no Americans are killed. Iran's missiles hit empty buildings. Deliberate, probably, a face-saving gesture. Trump chooses not to escalate. Crisis averted. But for 72 hours, the world was on the brink. Soleimani's death proves America will kill even high-ranking foreign military officers if they're deemed threats. But here's what most people don't know. Sometimes America doesn't kill leaders directly. Sometimes the CIA orchestrates their downfall from the shadows. Coups that change history. And you've probably never heard of them.
Covert operations category. These weren't killed in raids or airstrikes. These were overthrown in CIA coups, and most of this stayed classified for decades. Target 1. Mohammad Mossadegh, Iran, 1953. Democratically elected Prime Minister. Popular with his people. His crime? He wanted to nationalize Iran's oil industry, take it away from British and American companies, and give the profits to Iranians. BP, British Petroleum, was making massive profits from Iranian oil. Iranians saw almost nothing. Mossadegh said, "This is our oil, we should control it." The British were furious. They asked President Eisenhower for help. The CIA designed Operation Ajax. They didn't invade. They orchestrated a coup from the shadows. Fake protests, bribed military officers, propaganda campaigns. Made it look like Iranians wanted Mossadegh gone. The coup succeeds. Mossadegh is arrested, imprisoned. The Shah of Iran, a pro-Western monarch, takes full control. He's brutal, corrupt, but he's America's ally. So the U.S. supports him for 26 years, until 1979 when the Iranian people revolt, overthrow the Shah, and install an Islamic theocracy that hates America. The 1979 Iranian Revolution, direct consequence of the 1953 coup. We're still dealing with it today. Target 2. Salvador Allende, Chile, 1973. Socialist president. Democratically elected. The CIA viewed him as a communist threat. September 11, 1973. Ironic date. A military coup backed by the CIA overthrows Allende. He dies during the coup. General Augusto Pinochet takes power. Pinochet's dictatorship, 17 years. Thousands tortured and killed. But he's pro-US, so Washington supports him. Target 3. Ngo Dinh Diem. South Vietnam, 1963. US-backed president. But he's losing the war against the North. The Kennedy administration decides he's a liability. They greenlight a coup by South Vietnamese generals. November 1st, 1963. Diem is overthrown and killed. The coup destabilizes South Vietnam even further. 3 weeks later, JFK himself is assassinated. The pattern? These covert operations often backfire spectacularly. But not everyone dies. Some survive against impossible odds.
Survival category. Not everyone dies. Meet the ones who beat America. Target 1. Fidel Castro. Cuban revolutionary. Communist dictator. America's enemy for 50 years. The CIA tried to kill him over 600 times. 600. Exploding cigars. poisoned wetsuits for scuba diving, hiring the mafia to assassinate him, contaminating his food. Every attempt failed. Castro outlived every president who tried to kill him. Died in 2016 at age 90. Natural causes. Target 2. Kim Jong-un, North Korean dictator, nuclear-armed, starves his people. Trump threatened fire and fury like the world has never seen. They met, shook hands, exchanged letters. Trump called it diplomacy. North Korea still has nukes. Kim is still in power. Survived the pressure. Target 3. Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's disputed president. August 4, 2018, giving a speech in Caracas. Drones loaded with explosives fly toward him. Assassination attempt. The drones detonate early. Maduro survives. Venezuela blames the U.S. Maduro is still president. The U.S. still doesn't recognize him. But he's alive. Target 4. Bashar al-Assad, Syria's dictator. Civil war. 500,000 dead. The U.S. armed rebels to overthrow him. Didn't work. Russia intervened, saved him. Assad lost territory but kept power. The lesson? American power is immense, but it's not unlimited. And sometimes, the ones you can't kill are the ones who survive through alliances, luck, and sheer stubbornness. So what's the pattern? 18 major U.S. eliminations over 80 years. The success rate? Terrorist leaders, 95% eventually eliminated. Bin Laden took 10 years, but they got him. Baghdadi, Zawahiri, all dead. Dictators, about 75%. Saddam Gaddafi, Noriega, eliminated. But Castro survived. Maduro survived. Assad survived. CIA coups, about 50% backfired spectacularly. Iran, 1953, created the current crisis. Chile and Vietnam destabilized entire regions. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Killing the leader doesn't end the problem. Al-Qaeda survived bin Laden. ISIS survived Baghdadi. Iraq collapsed after Saddam. Libya collapsed after Gaddafi. The second and third order effects, the unintended consequences, often create worse problems than the original target. But that doesn't stop the operations, because when a U.S. president decides someone is a threat, history shows that person's days are numbered. So who's next? Based on current U.S. policy and public statements, not insider knowledge, just analysis, potential future targets exist. If Iran crosses the nuclear threshold, Iranian leadership becomes targets. If North Korea launches a provocation, Kim Jong-un's calculus changes. If Venezuela's crisis worsens, Maduro's survival isn't guaranteed. These aren't predictions. These are possibilities. The pattern suggests America's list is never finished. From bin Laden to Soleimani, from Saddam to Gaddafi, special operations, drone strikes, CIA coups, 18 confirmed eliminations. The methods vary. The pattern doesn't. When the United States decides you're a threat to national security, to American interests, to global stability, you become a target. Not might become, will become. The only questions are when and how. Because history proves one thing, the most powerful military in history doesn't make idle threats. And somewhere, in a secure facility, the next operation is already being planned. The next name is already on the list. This is the hidden history of American power. To understand the operations that shape our world, subscribe to Battlefield Insights. Next analysis, Trump's first 100 hours, what actually happens when he takes office. See you then.